David Kirkland has asked about 105 series reconditioned injectors and whether reconditioned versus new. I'm going to go grab my phone and we'll go over and have a squiz. The injectors in the 105 series are remarkably simplistic. There's not a whole lot in them or that needs to happen. So there is an area where a lot of people stuff up. This would be, that's basically what they look like. This type of injector is not much up on a garden hose, really. They don't do an awful lot, particularly in relation to, say, a common rail injector anyway. What does happen is they have in the end of the nozzle here, they have what they call a pintle. And what is designed to happen, rather than have holes that they spray out of, the pintle lifts up and the fuel comes down, hits this pintle and then deflects, which is the little tiny tip that comes out of here. Now, of course, over time, that tip starts to erode and wears away. You lose a bit of atomization. So, generally speaking, people talk about 100, 150,000 kilometres service life out of those types of injectors. Look, for optimal performance, 100,000 kilometres is the number. But as we all know, they will actually run for a considerable amount of time, just maybe not as optimally as they were before. When we talk about the reconditioning of those style injectors, however, here's a set ready to go. We're just waiting for nozzles to come in. They're actually very simplistic. There's literally an injector body, a spring, a sandwich plate, cap nut, and there's a couple other little pieces, but they're basically to let the spring work. Now, what ends up happening is that the spring tension opens and closes the injector at a certain pressure, and that's basically it. So when the nozzle's warm, we replace the nozzle. A lot of the time, where I think the only real trick that some places miss is that this high pressure sealing surface. So if you think about it, we get injection pressures in these things of say 500-600 pounds. These are the two pieces put together. Whilst we might tighten them up, you need to understand that we want to try to make that seal as best as we possibly can. And the only way to think about it, we're not going to have a gasket that is going to seal at 600 bars. So we need to make the metal on metal seal perfectly or as best as possible and create minimal leaks. Now, it's actually possible to get a perfect seal on there, but the unit has to be very, very smooth and very, very flat. So a lot of guys in the industry, some of them will use sandpaper and use their hand to grind it down, which is not really flat anymore because you can obviously wobble it around a little bit, and sandpaper's never going to give you the quality finish that you need. Some smart ass in the background waving to everybody. You're internet famous! So that's where I think the difference between reconditioned and new can be that, but in every other way they're a very, very simple unit, and there's really no reason why you would need to go a new one over a reconditioned one. So hopefully that answers your questions.